How do?
What's up, Wes? Is that coffee?
It's a coffee.
What
I know.
is going
I'm letting
on?
everyone
Tell
down.
me
No,
more.
no Negronis, no Guinness. Like, I'm sorry, guys.
Mate, tell me more about your week then. How come you're not on the Negronis?
I should be on Negronis because it's been a hell of a week, mate. But I just decided I had to do something after work today, so I can't drink alcohol. So I've got to behave. I don't think it'll change me, but you never know.
Oh, really? Really? You gotta go that path?
So
how was your week?
Well, I want to talk about the MIA. Like, where the hell is he again?
Who?
Oh, that guy. You know
Which
that
guy?
one? The one that should be listening now, but he's probably not.
Well, yeah, Ash probably got arrested, so we cannot tell how that's gonna go again. Yes, last week was you, wasn't it? This week is him.
I know.
But yeah, let's start by welcoming everyone to another water cooler session. So welcome.
As a scale, I think I've had about a 7 this week. I'm not highs, I'm not
your week.
highs. Yeah, 7. It's not negative. I'm just hustling back out there on the the hunter gatherer mode, trying to find clients for the end of the year. You know how it goes. You know what I mean? It's a tough challenge, and it's probably coincidental that we're going to talk about that shit today, right?
Mate, this is gonna be a great episode, right for that. I'm really looking forward to this episode. For any of you that just joined to the water cooler, Wes, what is the water cooler?
Well, the theory came from us as a meeting place at the end of the week where we can gather around that water cooler, meet somebody we don't know, and learn something new. And so we brought it online, and we do that bi-weekly. Our little pivot is that we don't tell you who's going to be on. So, you have to turn up to find out, or you watch the reruns after. And you can find that on, on Apple, YouTube, watch the rerun back on LinkedIn. But yeah, we are actively looking for new guests. I think I posted last week. We're filled up the rest of the year now, but we're looking into early next year. So get your suggestions in for sure.
Mate, some of the spots that we filled for the next of the year, they're crazy. Like I'm just salivating by thinking about it.
It shows the pool we've actually got, though, right? I never thought we'd have a bit of power, but we actually do, and it shocked me slightly.
Yeah. Everyone joining right now, please tell us in the chat, how was your week from 1 to 10? Where you're joining from? What are you up to? And welcome to the show. Wes, what you think? Shall we?
I mean, you can. I want to get the chat going. Like, it's quiet today. Like, where's everyone's scores? Where's everyone's weekly ratings? Where's them flags? Like, bang them in the chat. Like, where's it at? You know when it's a good thing when your regular guest is already apologizing that he ain't going to turn up. So shouts out to Mark. I mean, bless him. But anyway, let's go. I think you should. This is your lead. This is your guest. I think
this is gonna be good. I was looking forward to this cooler because I think we are all in here, like all our creative entrepreneurs, agency owners. You got clients, I've got clients, you got an ambition, but still, running the creative business sometimes feels like you're pushing this massive pile of crap up the hill. Can be very, very tough. And today's episode is for every single agency founder out there, drowning in scope creep, chasing growth, chasing hiring, and, having good days, bad days. We all know the creative agency is a roller coaster, right? So, and we know that's the hustle. So today we'll be driving into every single part of the creative industry that no one wants to talk about, really, which is the business sides. We are creatives, we have the ambition, we have the vision, we have everything. But we gotta talk about the non-sexy part as well, the messy part, the scruffy part, which, quite frankly, is essential. And our secret guests, right? So there is a plural in that.
I think this is a first. Like
maybe it is a first. Yeah. So they literally build a practice in helping agency clean up the mesh, have a tidy house, fix the processes, fire bad clients, which I guess is also juicy. We're gonna get into that, and build a creative business that actually works. They wrote a book about it as well, and there is much more to this duo, which I don't want to give too much away because we wanna go into it together. They run a consultancy called Casa Dapka, and trust us when we're gonna tell us that it's gonna be really, really useful for you. So please help me welcome to the show Emily Cohen and Hunter Vargas.
Yay!
Welcome to the
Here we are.
I love
Thanks.
the part.
Color. Yeah, fun.
No pressure. How are you guys? You all right?
We're good.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Yeah.
Color
Finally,
coordinated
nice weather for once.
without giving too much away. Color coordination. You know, it's all happening.
Oh yeah.
Always.
Yeah, we were a little concerned that we were going to wear the same color, but luckily we didn't. So we're good.
Listen, I want to go, Emily and Hunter. I want to go straight into it. And why creative agency do need a redesign, and why did you wrote a book about it, and why did you actually also think to dedicate your life in fixing this issue? What's the root cause?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can talk about myself, and then Hunter can join in. I was a designer.
Okay.
And was a designer. Went to design school. You know, my running joke that I say too often is, you know, I know kerning. But I realized pretty quickly that our business was a little broken. And my father was a bookseller, so I come from a very entrepreneurial family,
Mm-hmm.
and realized there was first that I was not great at design and I didn't have a passion for it. And second is that I really cared about the industry still. Like I really cared, and I was struggling with what I would do. And basically, you know, I asked all my trusted mentors in my life, many who had been successful in the industry for a long time. Because right out of college, I, you know, joined all the organizations. I was very kind of active in the industry, and I just asked everybody what I should be doing because I was struggling. Right, I loved design, but I wanted to leave design. And everybody said, you're just really good at kind of kicking people's butts, and that's what you should do for a living. and I didn't know what that meant. And then I realized what it meant was being, you know, something on the business end of design. So I started managing a studio and for about 7 years, and then quickly built up a following of clients as well on the side. And I was working like 80-hour weeks, 40 hours, my regular job, 40 hours as a consultant. And my fiance at the time, now husband, was like, you need to start your business. So it's been an incredible ride, and I absolutely love it. And so, yeah, it's just a passion. I mean, we were talking about this before. It's a passion of mine. I absolutely care deeply about creative and the value we provide. And it's kind of why I do it, because I love who I work with and I love helping them evolve their business.
Hunter, how does she kick ass? Is she hardcore?
Pretty hardcore, yeah.
You've got it on two angles, right?
Pretty hardcore.
An employer, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, the way we work with clients and the way she's always worked with clients is very honest, right? We're not going to like I sugarcoat things a little bit more in a different way. We have different approaches, but we don't lie. We're not going to tell clients like, hey, you're doing great if you really should be changing and evolving.
Mm-hmm.
But we will work with our clients to really find things that work for them. But we are honest about what they need to do, what they need to improve. And that really gets them to the next level, as opposed to just, we always say, like, if you want to work with us, like, we don't want you to just say yes to us. We're not going to just say yes to you. Like, we want some pushback. We want to talk. We want to land somewhere good, because if you're not discussing, if you're not brainstorming together, if you're not pushing back and pulling, then you're not going to land somewhere that's actually going to work for you.
No.
So, and she particularly has a very like honest approach, which really works.
Would you say like your way of describing kicking butt then is just being brutally honest and guiding and partnering? Is that what you mean by that, or is it something?
Yeah, and I think you want to say that, but I think it also means like just getting them to the next level. Sometimes like people just get too comfortable, and it's like the way of just like saying like, hey, you're doing good, but like, how can you really take this to the next level? How can you really think differently? How can you really, you know, sometimes people get really accustomed to the status quo, and it's hard for them to look past that. And I think that's why people always bring in outside experts, because we help them sort of like, you know, gain an outside expertise or outside insight.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
And we are not afraid of telling them things that other people would feel less comfortable. You know, we get some sense of people and we'll just bring it up. And if they disagree, that's great. You know, we like to have that battle just to see, but it usually stimulates some thinking in themselves.
It's interesting. It makes me think about like one of my favorite quotes. Funny enough, my business partner told me this once when we were working on our legal agreement. He told me like, if everyone is equally unhappy in the relationship, I think that's where the truth sits. So it's kind of like you're confronting each other with honesty, and everyone is kind of willing to give away something, and then there is something in the middle. And I love that. And we will get into the brutally honest part a bit more. But like, I guess what I want to start the conversation with you too is like, why do you think that creative entrepreneurs need business help, and why many of them struggle from the business side of things?
Yeah. I think we definitely do see this shifting in the industry. So we're not saying like all creatives struggle at the business side, but we have seen over time, but I think people are changing a little bit just because, realities are shifting. But I think a lot of times creatives just love what they do, right? They love what they do. They want to build great design, build great strategy work. They really want to help their clients. And they lose sight of the fact that they are a business and they need to value themselves as a business and that they need to charge properly, that they need to set boundaries. And so they're, just kind of like the normal, typical creative. That's not every creative tends to have a certain personality type where they just want to like do the best they possibly can for their employees, for their clients, for almost like everyone but themselves in the business. So a lot of times we work with our clients, like, listen, we like want to know all about your staff, and we want to know about your clients, and we want to understand the personal and professional relationship you have with everyone. But at the end of the day, we're here particularly because you hired us to help you and your business.
Yeah.
And that's where we think like creatives really need sometimes an extra push. And we want that, right? We want them to get paid what they're worth for the work they're providing. We want them to think about their business strategically. We want them to think like that they don't need to be working 80-hour weeks, or that they don't need to be hand-holding their creative team, that they should be able to let go, that they should be able to go on vacation without fear. And so that's what we work with our clients to really help them look at their business as a proper business and help them get them there. Yeah.
You mentioned about I guess behaviors changing, which obviously impacts in many ways, right? From
drastically
business owners. In your journey here, like how have you adapted and changed? Like, because obviously you've got a purpose behind it, right? And you've driven it.
Yeah.
How's that evolved and matured?
For us?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you in general, but yeah,
for our clients, which
for you, I want to. Oh yeah, you.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question.
I get that.
I mean, I can answer it.
Yeah, why don't you?
I mean, so initially my mom, Emily, so she's my mother, had her own solo consulting business. And clients very much,
no one knows.
Very much. Yeah. Here's the surprise. We do have different last names. So we kind of get away with it for a while. Sometimes people like, do you have no idea until we're like midway through the consultation. They're like, wait, what did you just say, mom? And I'm like, yes. We don't hide it, but we're not like, we both actively have our own unique parts of the business. So I think like when she first started her business, like clients, they needed more tactical things. They need proposal writing and like they need help with pricing, and they still need a lot of that. But a lot of our clients now, and over time, your clients have evolved to really want to look at their business more strategically and holistically, and not just plan for right now, but plan for like a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, even. And so I think a lot of the work has gotten more strategic as our clients do start to value their business as businesses more. And when I joined the business a couple of years ago and we officially started Casa Dafka, we really kind of looked at that. We're like, okay, like we know that our clients still need support on the day-to-day firefighting and tactical stuff, but we also see this like real need to be supporting them with insights that are higher level, that are a little bit more strategic, that are looking at things such as positioning and organizational structure, not from like a moment in time, but from like a long-term planning situation, and from thinking about their vision and thinking about how they want to grow and evolve their business. And so I think some of our clients in some ways have gotten like smarter, or at least they're thinking more longer term. So we support them in that way. I think that's how our business has evolved, or at least how I see it, is when I came in, it was kind of this critical juncture of like, okay, we really like took a look, like we kind of slowed down a lot of our consultations. Before, they're very much like one day, like not always, but they're much like in the moment. But now we kind of are with our clients for a couple months, and we're there with them throughout the process, because it's been really helpful to like be there and to change and help them evolve and help them like really be there when the things we talk about come up.
Yeah.
I also think that I've grown personally having a partner, right?
Okay.
So working on my own, I was a boss, right? And so working with my daughter and a partner has been, very interesting and really insightful, because now it's given me and us insight into our clients, who many of them are partners or best friends or, married or, related in some way, or, somehow there's a relationship there. So now we have a lot more insight to partnerships too. So I think a lot of what we've done is evolved because of our partnership also.
Yeah.
Emily, how many creative entrepreneurs have you spoken to in your career, if you would like to give me a rough number?
Spoken to? Does that include conferences and events and everyone who's read the book?
Yeah, more from the
Consulting.
Clients.
Consulting.
Yeah, I would say at least 1,000, probably more
Wow.
over the 30 years I've been doing
Alright.
it, if not more. Yeah,
Alright.
and a lot of my clients
What
are still clients. They come back. So we're working with a client now that I worked with 7 years ago, and now they've come back. So some of them a lot of them are repeat clients.
Oh gosh, that's another question. But I think the original question I wanted to ask you is like, what is the average journey then? Is it a creative that was in an agency, then goes freelance, then he creates his own agency? So what is the usual journey? Let's say if you had to give me the most common story, let's say, of how they became
For our
creative
clients?
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, for
Yes.
our clients.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them start their business because they either were laid off or they weren't able to work with others, or they just had some freelance clients and they realized they had to grow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a lot of them do want creative freedom. Like I think there's a lot. I think
Yes,
a lot
that's a
of the
big
stories
one.
here from people is like we actually ask all of our clients during a discovery phase. We do like what drives you? What drove you to open this business? And what continues to drive you? And
Yeah.
a lot of times it kind of starts with like
Creative
they were
freedom.
just like, I want creative freedom. I want to choose who my clients are. I want to choose who I want to work for, which is not a bad motivation to start a business. Should it be the only motivation? Not necessarily. So I think that's where, but when they start there, I feel like it's usually where they start. Ideally, we like them to start because they want to run a business and they want and they're interested in managing a team. They want to not be hands-on in design. They want to be focusing on building relationships. That doesn't always happen. That kind of hits them like 5 years in and they're like, oh, okay, I know I need to shift.
And I think what happens is I think what happens is that they work on their business for about 2 to 3 years, right? And if they call us during that time period, we typically don't work with firms that are just launching or in the like very early stages, because at that early stage in their business, they're just hustling to get business, to build their portfolio, to figure out who they are. Right. So that's kind of the growth path. And then they call us after 3 to 5 years in business, because now they're realizing, okay, the industry is extremely saturated right now. There's a million of us everywhere. And so they realized they had to stand out and they wanted to figure out where to evolve their business.
Yeah, they're ready to take control.
And then,
really ready to like, okay, what do I want now? We've been growing it. I have a couple clients. Maybe I'm ready to staff up. Maybe I have a staff, but like, what do I really want out of this? And that's like one part where we usually start working with people. It's like, okay, they've been doing well, but things have sort of like either stagnated or they're just like, okay, this doesn't feel like something's missing. And that's sometimes when we come in with our clients. And that's usually when like it's a big evolution point. It's like, it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And then we'll also come in, then they'll implement our recommendations. And then like in a few years, maybe 10 years after that, or they've been in business 10, 15 years, now they're thinking about what's next. They've done everything. They've fixed everything. They either want to leave or they want to add a new service or they want to grow their team. So they come at different evolution points, essentially.
All right. Hold it there 1 second. So from one side, we have the business entrepreneur. I want to make money. I want to build a system that make money, buy the Lamborghini and be happy. And then you have the creative entrepreneur that says, I want to have creative freedom.
I would actually, it's a very simplified way, but I would actually agree with that.
And okay, so they get into that creative freedom. They're hustling for a couple of years. Then you help them having a more like of a business mindset. I'm curious. Again, based on your experience, what is that they want next? Do they want to get out of the creative overseeing of the project and become more into the background? Or they still want to design? I know you're smiling. What do they want?
Yeah, well, everyone's different.
Yeah, right? I think it really depends. Like, I really do think every single one of our clients, which I think what we love about our work is like, not everyone's after buying a Lamborghini or not, not everyone's after growing to a staff of 50. And so it's cool to work with everyone on their individual goals and think about unique ways we can get there. Sorry, you could add to that.
Yeah. But I also think that they also are at a point where a lot of people, they're all of a sudden adults. It doesn't make any sense, right? So they all of a sudden realize, hey, I need to make money also, right? So a lot of it's around, making sure they're more profitable and more successful in terms of the kind of clients. So many of our clients are almost all our clients start with us when they're just referral based. All their business is coming in referral based, right? That's how you build a business initially. And honestly, that's how we got our business, right? So like 70, 60%.
Referrals aren't
going to be referral based. Referrals are great, but they only go so far. And so they usually come in because they realize they can't control their business anymore. The clients and their referrals and their contacts are controlling the business. And so they want to, usually I think the common theme is they all of a sudden want to be in control of the business, however that looks like in their role. Some of them do want to be more hands-on, and sometimes we try to talk them out of it. And some of them are willing to commit to the business side more.
So
they're all slightly different.
So you talked about your client and this pattern, this evolution, and how you help support, guide, almost mentor from a business point of view. How do you start to navigate like external impacts, external factors like climate change, like the war, like the I guess the sensitive kind of subject? How do you help navigate your clients through that?
Well, first of all, we say it's
shitstorm of life.
all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know if we can control any of that shit.
No, I'm not saying you control it, but
Yeah.
it happens, but how do you help navigate, right? Because you're in how I'm seeing you, you're a wingman, and you're helping them through business internally.
Yeah,
I'm going to dig in a bit into your emotional intelligence later, but how do you help navigate when these unknown factors that happen outside of the business?
Yeah.
Is there any way that
it's a good one? It's a good question. I think, Hunter, I don't know if you have a different answer, but I would just say we stay abreast of all the trends and see how they influence business. So if climate change is a challenge and our clients care about it and they have some insight, we try to get them to maybe focus on that and see if they can help that area while also still making money. But I don't know if that's quite, Hunter.
I think it's a tricky one. I mean, the reality of the world goes on around us, and really, the world is a really interesting place, and a lot of times not a very great place. But we kind of work with our clients to be like, maybe your business, if you're controlling your business, is one thing you have control over. But also we look at our clients, we're like, if you're personally really struggling, for example, then look at why are you personally really struggling? Is it related to business? Do you need, sometimes we're like, we're a little bit of therapists, we can't lie. I think any sort of consultant, you're with your clients through the trenches, but sometimes we say, hey, maybe you should be in therapy to like help you navigate these issues. But we also work with them then to discuss like, is there something about your business that's then suffering or like is making you feel a certain way? And we work with them to like maybe they just have way too many staff and they're like, they actually never wanted to manage a huge staff. And we think about that with them. So it's kind of a tricky one to answer. And it's, we can't control what happens in the world, but we could be there to help them, what they can control within their business.
And then leading into what I just said, I'm aware that you're very emotionally intelligent, right? I think you've done a lot of work on DISC and 12 driving forces. We do it in our work, me and Martin and Ash, and we use TetraMap, and we use some analysis tools as well. Like, how much does that come into your day-to-day with client?
Those tools, we use them selectively. Like, we definitely really believe in them, but they only tell us one kind of dimension of the story, right? There's a lot of other things that are, so we do this very deep dive discovery process. So we get to know our clients in everything. We have a million questions. We gather a million documents. So we really try to get a fuller picture of them, because they only give us some information, but not the full picture. And you'll be surprised every time we work with a client, we'll find in the middle of a conversation something huge, like they're going to get a divorce or they're pregnant, or we're like, these are things that are kind of important. They affect your business. We need to know about this. So with those tools are very helpful to give us a kind of overview of the client, but then we dig really deep to try to get to know them as well.
Yeah, not just their business, we try to get to know them as well. Like, how do they like to be communicated with? Who do they like go to when they want like advice? Like, are they going to their husband or their wife? Do they have other people in the creative industry they're going to? And we kind of help them, like, so we're not their only support system. So they have other people in their lives that they're going to. And so we really work with them to see like how we're going to consult with them in a way that's going to work for them and is actually going to result in really good strategies and recommendations and actually be really sticky.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we have to get to know them because there's a lot of consultants out there, right? When I first started, it was just me and one other person. Now there's a lot of us out there, which is great. But what really makes us different is we really feel like there's no one-stop shopping.
Yeah.
Right. Every client is so different. So that getting to know phase is so important because, how they do business development really depends on their comfort level in a lot of different areas. Some love to speak and I'm going to push them to speak. Some people are more one-on-one.
Yeah.
So we need to understand how they engage with the world and what their strengths and weaknesses are and concerns and challenges and strengths.
And we actually recommend our clients that with their clients as well. Like, we're like, get to know your clients, get to know the people you're building relationships with, understand when they do maybe turn to a client, how you can best work with them in a way that's going to be mutually beneficial. Yeah. So we kind of apply a lot of the strategies with our clients. We recommend the same strategies that they apply to their clients, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
what is the global? Because Emily, you do speak internationally. You work
Yeah.
mostly in the US, but like, what would you say is the global atmosphere in the creative agencies in the last couple of years? Then
It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. It's been tough. I mean, I think the world is at a certain point that everybody's really kind of in a very negative
Very
space, and I
uncertain.
think it's affected our industry and our mental health in a lot of ways. But it's also, I think, a great opportunity to kind of think about our industry in a different way and how we can, think about our business in terms of how we can help the world, but also how we overcome AI and all this other stuff. So I think it's at an evolution point. And honestly, because I've been in the industry for a very long time, longer than you, Wes.
Really, I would have said the opposite, to be honest.
Maybe your face is better than mine, huh?
And I've seen, like, we go through phases. It's up and down. And right now we're a little bit of a down, but we also see amazing ups, right? So I don't want to just get into the negative space. I want to just say that some of our clients are doing extremely well. But it's tough right now. And I think a lot of it's because of what's happening in the world and the uncertainty. And also people are no longer 100% committed to their business, right? They all of a sudden realize since COVID and even before that their business is not as important as everything else. And it's less about work-life balance. We both go most of the it's too binary to us. It's really more holistic than that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's
just made me. Yeah, I think what you just mentioned also just made me think. Wait, what did it just make me think? I don't remember. Never mind. I'll come back to it. It made me think about something, and then.
Yeah, I think it's just really hard. I think it's.
Yeah,
our clients are at a point where they are not ready. They also are uncertain, so they're not making. There's work out there. There's plenty of work out there. They're just not making. They're not pulling the. Is that what you want to talk about, Hunter?
No, keep going.
Oh, yeah, they're not really ready to sign the contract yet. The work is there. It's just there's a lot more patience that we need and a lot more relationship building than it used to happen. So it's not as immediate, and so a lot of it's just long term and more patience and more due diligence in terms of building relationships. I think just how we approach business is different now.
That's what I was going to build off of the building relationships. I think during tough times, it's like during tough times, during amazing times, during times, whatever time it is, relationship build relationships, network, whatever that means to you. We don't mean like, the icky networking you hear about in business school. We really mean building genuine, authentic relationships with people in the industry, both your colleagues, potential like just freelancers, but mostly like potential clients, potential strategic partners, potential people who are movers and shakers in the industry, and building those in ways that really feel authentic to you. And everyone is different in terms of what authenticity means to them. Some people are great at going to conferences and just talking to strangers. Some people would rather do one-on-one coffee with people. Some people are really good at just calling people up. But I think no matter what we're going through, if you really want your business to succeed, and when my mom had said that we're seeing some of our clients are really succeeding, those clients that are still doing really well are the ones that have consistently done relationship building in good times, in bad times, and okay times, and who also know who they are, right? So they know who they want to build relationships with because they know who they are in terms of their positioning, in terms of the types of clients they want, and the industries they want to go after, and the types of services they provide. And those clients, like we're seeing it, like the pattern is so obvious that those clients are doing the best of our clients right now because they've never stopped, even during times when business was really good. Because if you stop when business is really good, then if business dips and you haven't built those relationships, where are you left? Exactly. So I think that was just what I wanted to add. Was like, I really feel like,
it's beautiful, and also makes me think about the parallel with life, isn't it? I mean, life is also exactly the same as business, right? In good times you have a relationship, in the bad times you have a relationship, right? And that's really our anchor. I mean, we are social beings, and you're absolutely right. Because if I have to think about my agency and also the relationship with Wes and Ash, all the best things in my life professionally happened when I managed to put myself out there. Honestly, to connect with people that got me on a deeper level, and those were people that were there in the good and the bad times, and even just having a funnel where to talk with others in a similar situation, it's super powerful, and it's exactly the same in life. So if it's doing life, why are we not doing it in business? Exactly the same.
One
Yeah,
thing I
and,
think
like-
that's drastically changed in our industry is that level of transparency among peers. It used to be that we're all competitors, and it was sort of like super competitive. Now there's a lot of transparency, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Except we have a tendency to compare ourselves to others. Oh, they're killing it. Why are they killing it? Right? But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So we really caution our clients to
Well, we
not put
do.
people.
But
Say it again.
Right. I said we do. Our clients don't know what's happening behind the scene, but we know what's going behind
Yeah,
the scenes.
we know we know all this. We know all the dirt, and we know that everybody has a little bit broken.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, and so we always say, like, don't put people on pedestals. Every single one of our clients who look like they're award-winning,
It's the
doing
facade,
cool
right?
work. It's all of, but they have a lot of crappy clients on the side who are paying the bills.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? So
And we're not saying it's a bad thing. We're just saying that's the reality,
no.
right?
And
Like,
I think I'm telling you, like, if we're all honest in this call, we're all doing it. Like,
Yeah.
at some point you have to do it, otherwise.
It paid the bills.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it paid the bills.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it paid the bills. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it paid the bills.
And you're not showing all
fascinating.
that work. Like every designer we've ever, they only want to take on work that's going to be portfolio worthy, and we can't do that.
Nah. I call it bread and butter. Like, you need the bread and butter work, man. You need that to keep the lights on. 100%.
Yeah, but we also understand bread and butter to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Not bread and butter that's going to
No,
dominate your
soul.
business. Like, we have a client right now that has like 2 very, very large clients that are at least 30-40% of their business,
Right.
or more, each of them.
Yeah.
And they only have basically 2 or 3 dominant clients, which which they think is success.
It's vulnerable
It's
though,
not.
hugely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're seeing that. So it's a lot of just like thinking about all the variables and the balance of everything.
Brill. So let's talk about relationships in a different context. So Hunter, you came in 22, right? Was that when you kind of
Sure, that sounds right. I have no idea. I've been officially Casadaf goes form 23. We kind of officially started working together 2022, but I've been in the business. I literally grew up in the business, but since high school I've been involved. Did the book with her. So yeah, but officially.
So the question I have is who asked who?
The what?
Who asked who? Did mom ask daughter, or did
I don't know if it was like,
how did you get into this relationship?
it was pretty organic. So like I had been obviously like whatever. I had a lot of insight into the business as my mom talked to us about business. Like, we're a very like open, transparent family. Shocking, given what we've just all said. But
also, I'm obsessed with business, so I talk about it all.
Yeah, so I talk a lot about it. And it was, obviously really impressive to see. I think, like, especially like, female entrepreneur, especially during, not that she's that old, but like it was like not the old, it was kind of a newer thing. And so as a mom, like she was, my dad worked, but she was like the main breadwinner, main like worker of the family. But I think I was involved in it from a young age. I also put my hands in design, and I was like, absolutely not. But I still love the people I was working with. And so it's kind of the same thing. But then I ended up going to business school because I was like, I know already that I like the business side.
Yeah.
And then I worked essentially in agents. I'm like, we've kind of literally talked about it for, I don't know, most of my life, me joining the business. Yeah. But I was like, no, I want to like get work in the, I want to get like, I actually want to work in the industry. So I've worked within agencies and creative firms, like on the, project management, account management, business development, operations, and was like kind of getting that like on the ground experience to really understand how these firms are working from the inside out, what the staff experience is from that, what the staff experience is with principals, what's being communicated, what's not being communicated, where are the really big gaps that, like, if we're recommending to the principals they do X, Y, and Z, but then internally the organization isn't functioning a certain way, then that recommendation is not going to stick. So I come from that experience. And then one day I think it was just like, okay, I think it's time. Things just aligned, and we discussed a lot about it, and we made lots of very deliberate decisions, and we decided to start the business.
So taking this outside, like, to the viewers, then to the listeners, is have you got any advice that if they wanted to go into business with somebody close, whether that be their friend or their mom, how do you make that work? Because you've got some interesting like tangents, right? You've got
therapy
viewpoint and
therapy.
But you've got listen. You've got a generational viewpoint where you're going to come at it from 2 different generations.
Yeah.
You've got different experiences. Yeah. You've also got chemistry, as in like your genetics, like you're related in that. Yeah. But if you were to give some advice, three little points, 2 little points, a hack. If you're going to go into a relationship with one of your close friends, which I actually do, he's sat on the call. Like, how do you make things work? What Barack?
Okay. You want to start, Hunter, and I'll maybe add to that.
No, go for it.
Go on, go.
Let's go, me too.
Yeah. Okay. The first thing is, our relationship was, was hard. I'm not going to deny it. It was definitely a difficult transition, and we finally worked through it, and it's seamless now. But it took a lot of hard work and a lot of honest conversation. So I think therapy helped us. I think we also had the complicated issue is that she's in Columbia, I'm in Philadelphia. So we then also had, which was less of an issue, but it was, the personal one-on-one in-person stuff is easier. And we also had to prioritize our relationship. One of the things we realized is we talk every day to our clients, and we're on Zoom with all our clients almost every day. We get sick of each other, to be really honest. And so we realized we had to actually intentionally spend time with each other and not
personally.
So Hunter made a very, very hard decision for me, which is I was never allowed to talk about business and personal in the same conversation. So we really keep them separate,
right? That's made that little hack has changed everything. And,
it's fascinating.
I think I'm Hunter. I think I'm you in our relationship. I'm the one who nags the fuck out of these boys. Like, we need to stay in touch. We need to talk. We need to. Like the moment that connection breaks, then you're off, right? It's gone. So
what scares me the most, because like I work with one of my best friends. My girlfriend is in the business as well, and the thing that literally scares me the most is that becomes business as usual, and that takes over the relationship. I'm actually actively afraid by starting to talk with these people that I love to bits in my life as they were just colleagues, and I feel sometimes that it is taking over. And I feel sometimes it's hard to set boundaries between colleague and partner and really good friend of the person that I love.
Yeah. So I think just like add on to what we've kind of said, I think the first thing before we get into business with a friend, a partner, a family member, someone you're close with, is really make sure you have the same goals. Like first, the same business goals, especially like when you're like friends, right? Sometimes like, well, we just both love, we both love the kind of work the other person does. We get along really well, but make sure you have the same goals, both your business and a little bit for life. Like if one partner's like, I just want to make a ton of money, and one partner's like, I want to work with nonprofits, then you might need to like really think about if those goals align and if it makes sense for you to get into business together. It doesn't mean you can't, just because you work in the same industry. I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't mean you have to be in business together. You can still support each other actively in other ways, but I guess like starting to make sure you have kind of like the same goals. Like when we first decided to join forces, we talked about like the current state of the business. We talked about my potential goals, her potential goals for the business, and made sure that they align. Not that they need to be 100%, but they need to be generally on the same track, and then we both would be okay with supporting the other person in that. So I think that's the first thing. And then second, communication, transparency, honesty. During COVID, we had a lot of after COVID, a lot of our clients, I don't know how many, like had partnership breakups. And it was tough, but all of them, and it was like, essentially these issues had been there. It wasn't COVID that brought them up, right? The issues had been there. They'd been bubbling, and then COVID just like put it out there, and everyone's like, oh crap, like here we are. So it was really important. I think it's really important to be honest, because things can change. You could be in business with someone for 5 years and doing great. Yeah. And at the 10-year mark, things could change, and that's okay. Like it's okay. And you could discuss what that means, and you could have a partnership change, a partnership split in ways that are really still thoughtful and that benefit both partners at the end. You can even do that with staff sometimes. Sometimes people are really worried about letting go of staff, but sometimes it's better. Like sometimes everyone's happier. So I think if you're going to enter in a partnership, it's like it's like a relationship. Like you were saying, Martin, about like, how these strategies are like life strategies, like social relationship building. Same things for partnership. If you're going to be in a partnership, romantic, business, you want to make sure you're talking about goals. You want to make sure you're honest, you're communicative, if anything changes, etc.
I think it's also like to understand like what you actually want to get out of this. Like, because if you both want things, there's no point. You know what I mean? Like you're on a different journey completely.
Yeah. I think the other thing with us, even because we're related, and we have a lot of similarities. Like if you do the DISC assessment, we have the same behaviors, but what makes us very different is our motivators. So we had to recognize that too, right? And treat each other differently. Like I'll be really honest, I have a slight big ego, and because I've been doing this for a long time, and every time I would write something or create the recommendations or do the initial draft, I always felt like Hunter ripped it apart. Like I was like insulted, there would be all these red lines and changes. And And I realized, and what we realized, all she needed to do was say, "Good job, Mom." And then and then I'm like, "Oh, I just need that little bit," and it really helped. I mean, it's so ridiculous, but it made a big difference when she says, "I'm sorry,"
And
or
Yeah, I think also acknowledging that I wasn't actually trying to rip her apart. I was just actually trying to make it better. I was like, this is great. How can we make it even better for our clients? So it wasn't about her. It was about just making it better in general. So it wasn't like an attack on our ego, but we found ways to communicate and figure out. But that's why we communicate that. If we didn't communicate it, we would still be in that sticky spot, which wouldn't have helped anyone.
So for having built a business that helps other creative entrepreneurs not to fuck it up, or at least to fuck it up with some structure and clarity and happiness, what about yourself? So when did you fuck it up, and when were some mistakes and problems and things that you learned along the way? Because like it part of the consulting job is helping others, but then along the journey, I'm pretty sure you also had a few shitstorms.
Yeah, I have a funny story.
Go ahead.
So I used to, well, not so funny. I don't know. I remember very clearly. I was doing a lot of corporate consulting. This is where before Hunter joined, and I was doing corporate consulting, and I was working with a very big in-house team. And we were having, and my boss, the person that hired me was the CMO, and he was a blowhard. I'm not going to, he was something. And we're in this meeting, and his whole team is there, and this was a really big mistake. I called him on his crap, and I said, you're talking a lot. Let your team talk. And because I'm really honest, and he called me out on it and took me out of the room, and we worked it out. And then in the end, he said, actually, I'm really glad you did that. But it was a hard conversation, and I always remember that. Like I now learn to soften myself a little bit sometimes. Because
so it
I realized,
slipped in a way, yeah, Emily. Did it just go?
Yeah, and I've learned better to navigate meetings. So I went to meeting facilitation training. So I've done some things to work on myself for that. But that was a snake early in my career that was terrifying. Like, the CMO of a very important client of mine called me out on my stuff, but then in the end it worked out even better because he really appreciated it. I just could have said it differently. I would say that was
it's interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting because I think some of the biggest reward and some of the biggest achievement usually happens from these really hard conversations. Maybe sometimes the conversation that you don't really want to have. I was like, I'm gonna have to talk about this. No, but then you have it, and then instead the relationship really really builds upon that. So Emily, where is this brutally honest, no bullshit coming from?
Wait, I want to hear what Hunter, have you made a mistake? I want to know if she's made a mistake.
I don't make mistakes. No, I'm just kidding. We have very different I think the only thing that's been interesting to navigate, I think kind of relates to other questions too, is like we're on calls sometimes, and sometimes our mother-daughter stuff comes out. It's just the reality. As much as I try to set boundaries in mother-daughter, the reality is we're linked. We don't want to break that. We can't break it. And so I think there's been some moments where it becomes a little bit obvious. But luckily, I also feel like we've learned to just like, I'm hoping things are kind of leading this way in all industries. Like everyone's human. Like, it's like, is it really that big of a deal? Like, as long as you're then reflecting on it, like we're not ever like any mistake we've ever made. Like even the mistake that what you said to the CMO, like you didn't do it with malintention, right? You did it with like real intention of being, okay, I actually want to hear from the rest of the team. So I think we kind of give ourselves, we try to improve and like make sure that doesn't always come to light. But sometimes, we're human, and our clients, I think, also appreciate seeing that in some way. It's like, we look, they also have their issues, well, just like me. So
I'm sorry, Martin. I just want to know if she thought she had.
No, I wanted to talk about this.
Okay.
I want you to give me the story about this. Tell us a bit more about the title, and tell us. It's one of the most beautiful,
I'm jealous.
Design, good smelling book that I ever put my hands on. What was
where did it start?
fire?
Where did it start?
So I had this amazing husband who, I'm the breadwinner and the ambitious one.
Where'd you go?
Did I say had?
A
little Freudian slip there.
Oh my God! Please find it in the next episode.
And he constantly pushes me, even though he has no ambition. He pushes my ambition, and one day he just said, you should write a book. I'm like, I don't have time. Make the time. And he made me write the book. He really supported me in that. So I would have to credit my husband for really pushing me to say, like, you always wanted to write a book. Now is the time. And so I did.
Wasn't the other thing that like people would always say like, oh, I read your book, it was so great, and you're like, I don't have a book. This is like
so many people
like
said,
everyone
I
would
read
come
your
to us,
book.
they'd email you and be like, I read your book, I'd love to consult with you, or like they'd see her at conferences and she'd be like,
then?
what book? And so I think that was also like a little bit of the funny motivation. Well, if they think you wrote a book, might as well have one that they actually could read.
It's really true. So many people would say that.
And
so
go on.
Yeah.
So then I was looking at all the business books because there are a lot out there, and I really was like, what am I going to do that's different? And what we realized, Hunter was a big part of this. So she was on the ground when we decided to write this book. And what we realized is that designers are visual thinkers, and all these books were not designed for designers to read. And so we had set out to make a very robustly designed book that is 9 colors and it really speaks and has information graphics and call outs and bold type, and so that
more like a reference book, right? Like an idea of like a reference, like someone didn't have to like, they could read it fully, but they could also just like read parts and they could pull from it. And like, so it's like about like the idea of like well designed, but also like what's the word, like not, oh my god, not edible, like digestible.
It's
digestible,
Like most of my books that I love have got a full of post-its. I reference them, I check reference them 24/7.
They're used
all the time. So like without giving too much away, you know, you've only got the ebook available right now. I'm wishing you to reprint, and I know we spoke about it in the pre-call, but is that a thing? Could that happen?
Yeah,
I think we definitely talked about it, right? Like, you want to go? Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I think the thing is, we also like initially wrote the book like a reference book, but also like for a reference book for those earlier on in their business, that kind of like 1 to 5 year mark where they're not ready to work with a consultant, whether it's us or someone else. And so we really like that idea of like, we're, you know, we love the industry, and it's really important to us to give back to the industry as well. And so like that was kind of our way of like having a resource that we could give to people that was like, hey, here's like, you know, for significantly cheaper than what it would be to have us in college, here you could still pick our brain and get our insight. And so we've talked about writing another book. It's like kind of like the evolve, like maybe you've done everything in this book, and now you're ready for like that next level and next step. And
what's some of like the most surprising responses you've got from it? Have you had any like a crazy reaction, or is there any?
A lot of people reference it all the time. It's amazing the impact it has on the industry. I have to be honored to tell you that we get love letters almost on a daily basis from people saying, you know, that they've read our book.
So
no that was like published so many years ago now. This was I think the Kickstarter launched in 2018. And I think we published in 2020. So it's been like a while. And I also think one thing that was really interesting is it became like a textbook in a lot of schools, like in a lot of design schools, which is very cool.
Yeah.
Which we really like, was like fun, because that's like exactly what we want. It's like we want people to be learning from the ground up. We want people to be thinking about that when they're just design students, that hey, they can price themselves in a way that shows their value.
I also found it interesting that people outside our industry appreciate the book. Like I hear from like weird people like hairdressers and like all kinds of people that are like, I read your book. I'm like, why? And because
the creative scope is so wide, right?
The
creative scope is so wide. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I've been really proud of its impact, to be really honest. It was very successful. We had 2 printings of it. And but it's old, right? It's 5 years and the industry's changed a lot. So there's some stuff in there that, like, of course, every time you write a book, I'm sure you know this, like every time you write a book, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have written that. But at the time it was relevant, right? So we would, I mean, I think eventually when we have time and we get kicked in the butt again, we will write one probably.
Yeah. I'll sign up for that. Wes, before we go forward, can I do one last thing on the book?
Yeah, I had a question on the book. No, but
go on. You go.
I was going to say, without giving spoilers away, I'm going to put the link in the chat anyway for the ebook. But if there's one piece of information in your book right now that you would give to your younger self, what would that be? That was my question.
Give to my younger self.
Give to our younger self, or give to like creative?
No, I like. Imagine if this book was around when you were doing this. Like, what would that number one thing you take from it, big or little? Like, what would it be?
I mean, I guess I don't know if it's like directly said in the book, like just do it. Like I think a lot of our book like
Yeah.
talks about actual actions.
Yeah.
A lot of creatives, a lot of people just like have, you know, they want to do everything possible instead of actually do the thing that they need to do. They want to do all the research and they want to get everyone's opinion. And so I think even for us, it's like, I think just the idea of like actually taking the actual steps you need to and not being scared and just trying things out.
Mm.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that
I think for me, it would be, it's related to the get action, is that to really define my role. I think the one thing I would take away if I was starting my own business from this book, I would learn that the owners always wear so many hats. You have to decide which is the best hat that leverages your salary and your role the best. So deciding, you know, that you're maybe, even though you're a great creative director, that's not necessarily your job as an owner. Maybe creative director is, but not a designer, right? So really thinking about your role and what, even if you're good at it, is that the best use of your time? So I would say that to me would be a big takeaway.
Yeah, and I think that actually applies to our partnership as well. Like when we decided partnership, we decided like we had some role clarity discussions about who would be doing what based on strengths and weaknesses and all of that. And I think that's really important.
Right. So,
well, thanks, Wes, for taking my question.
that's so chemistry right there, right? We do that quite a lot. Like, do you guys align a lot in your thought? Like that, I wasn't having that question next, but me and Martin do it quite a lot. And you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's like, yes, it's either we really align or we're really different. It's like it goes one way or the other. It's like 60 to 70% of the time really align, and then the other 30%, 20%, whatever. It's like
and we share
really
that to opposite
clients.
views. We are very transparent with the clients about that. So because we love the conversations that lead. Like we always say, we're not the end all be all of all your answers. A lot of it's just collaboration and brainstorming. And so with our clients, if we disagree, and well, I think 30% is a good amount of percentage that we disagree. We strongly disagree, and we fight either way. We kind of have battles with the client, but in very good, productive ways. And sometimes, you know, and I prefer to win all the arguments. I think,
you know.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hunter also loves to win. By the
not as much as me.
Sometimes I just let her think she's won when in fact she has not won.
That's a mother-daughter relationship, right?
Yeah. And I know it, but I don't tell her. But I know she's loyal to me.
So let's move into a bit more about you guys then. Outside of being brutally honest, you know, what's your guilty pleasure? Who wants to go first? Who's got that?
You go first.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, come on, give me like your most awkwardest song on your playlist.
Oh man,
she lives in her lifestyle is her. I mean, your lifestyle is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but it's not guilty. I'm pretty proud of it. No, I mean, I don't know. Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, you must. All right, let me go to my usual.
Okay, I would say romance novels.
Romance novels.
Okay, for me, I do like. Okay, I will say like romantic comedies, romance.
I love a
novels.
I
think because it's just like life is so. For me, it's like I read a lot, mostly read. Life is so complicated. Life has some negative things. Why would I want to read or see that? Like the great thing about a romance novel is you know where it's going to end, and it's just like easy, and it's just like. It's just fun, and I think life is complicated enough. Why in like the fantasy world make things really complicated? That's like kind of my like I think general. Like I don't like watching sad movies. Just like why? I could be sad in real life. Why would I want to be sad in fake life? Yeah.
This is the best explanation why you should get into romantic novels. Because
you just know.
What about you, Emily? What about you, Emily? What song do you sing in the shower?
Hunter, you have an answer for me?
Don't sing. I hope you don't sing.
What, come on.
No, it's not a music.
Music is definitely not in my life.
No? You don't have like an anthem that you sing? Or
I grew up with a family that had no radio and no records or any music in their lives because my father was a bookseller. So I didn't discover music until I was in college, and by that it was too late. Like I didn't go to concerts. So of course all designers are into music.
Yeah.
And I can't even listen to music like when I work.
What do you do in your personal life then? Like, you know, what does that look like?
I work. No.
Yeah.
That's actually something I've been working on a lot in the last 5-10 years. I used to really honestly work all the time because I love what I do and I was a workaholic. And I'm really not that anymore. I've moved to a city and have a robust social life now, which I never had. So it's been amazing. Guilty pleasure, I would say, is like, I don't know if I compared to you.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that's like you just do it. Yeah, you do what you want. I think that's always been the great thing. You do whatever you want and you go full force into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, making
Yeah.
your life harder for yourself is your guilty pleasure.
Oh yeah, I do that
She
all
moved
the
into
time right now.
Yeah, I think that would say is her guilt. Like she should be guilty about it because she shouldn't do it. But like she moved into a condo building a couple years ago, and she's like, "I'm not joining the board. I'm not joining the board." She's currently on the board.
Hunter, just a question from the chat. Like, how do you, what would you score Crazy Stupid Love? Somebody's gave it a top.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I haven't done a rewatch in a while, but it's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Solid.
I guess.
I think.
Lastly, like, what have you got any questions for us? Like, we love to ask our guests, like, on the spot, like, what question you know, you got like, a burning question you want to ask me in mine?
Well, now that you've like dived into our personal relationship, I guess what has been the biggest challenges of you guys working together on this podcast and your professional lives, or the biggest win? I don't know. You could go positive if you want to.
We get asked it quite a lot in different.
Or challenge to overcome. I want to hear what you challenge to overcome.
Well, we can both probably play the game now, Martin, and you know at the same time hold the card up. Probably what the biggest challenge. But I think it's time, it's distance, it's it's having. I'll be honest, and I don't know if my partner's listening to this right now, but like I'm running out of excuses to get on a plane and go and see him face to face. I think you can only bullshit so many times that you've got constant work. But no, like I think that's the hardest challenge for us is being in physical presence. But I think everything else is easy, really. I think you mentioned challenge. I think that's healthy for us that we challenge each other on the way, and that's how we work. You know?
Definitely distance. I think all three of us, like Ash is missing now, obviously, but I think we all come from different backgrounds and different experiences, and I think we all were super lucky to meet a point in our life where we were mature enough to stand our own ground. So all three of us stand our ground. All three of us have an opinion about stuff specifically, and we clash all the time, and that is the best outcome for our clients. And it's always like that. And
that's really cool.
We are so lucky that we found each other. We are so lucky that we are good friends. We are brothers from that do not share a genealogical tree, but we do the work that we love to do. And I think it's distance. Yeah, I would just love to be closer to them and be able to do more of what we love to do.
There's a great
the physical distance is hard.
There's a great script there.
It is very hard.
Definitely.
Is what?
There's a great for a rom-com there, for sure. One of them
actually, the physical distance
is like I love Think Like a Man. I Think Like a Man too. They're kind of my kind of go-to rom-coms.
It's a good one too,
by the way. But
yeah.
Anything else before we go? You want to ask anything else?
I would like to know how you guys first met.
Go on, you tell it.
How do we first met? I think we were all students of Martin Neumeyer's level C, right? So we all met in there. Me and Wes were matched in the same group. We were working on the same project, and we met with Ash as well at the Barbican in London. And I was following Ash for a really long time on LinkedIn, and he taught me a lot on how to write content and personal brand. And I think Ash, I remember very clearly, was the only and the very first person that I had exactly the same idea of him offline as him online. So I was reading his content for a really long time, and I really liked his content. And when I met him, he was exactly the same person, and I thought, oh my God, that's possible.
I love that. I love that authenticity in all ways.
It's weird how it happened as well. Like we've been hanging out. I mean, for anyone that's done level C, I think Mario's in there in the chat. I know there's people in the chat that have done it, and it's quite a unique experience that you get put into a group of 6 to 7 people globally that you've never met before, and you're being asked instantly to work together and collaborate and find your role, find your responsibility. And this happened because it was in the pandemic. This happened for months. So I was getting up at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday to meet my team to work, for like 6 months at a time. And we had people in Lebanon, Martin's in Cyprus, I was in the UK, I had never been to India in a group. It was mad, so we're instantly being challenged and tested, I think, at level 1, like the first thing. And then I really got on with this guy, and I'm always a collaborator. I look to collaborate.
Yeah.
So I was kind of slowly sneaking into his lane anyway, going, right, there's some collab happening here. And then Ash came in, and I built up time, and we got together for I don't know why, it was near Christmas anyway, wasn't it, Martin? And in the back of a cab in Hammersmith in London, I had this idea, and I don't know if anyone knows or they've heard the story, but I'm very influenced by Wu-Tang. I'm very influenced by like the RZA and how he put together like these 12 individual brands that allowed them to come together to collaborate, and then they would go away and be independent brands on their own, and they created the Wu-Tang Clan, right? So I had this theory that we could do the same thing with me, Ash, and Martin. I was like, I'll be the RZA. You guys can be Method Man. We'll all be signed to different labels, but we'll come back together and collaborate together when we
love that.
So I built up the courage in the back of this cab in Hammersmith in the middle of London, and
he proposed to us.
I was like, "Come on, I've got this idea, boys," and I spilled it out like a nervous wreck at a wedding, like just doing a speech. I was just reeled it off. And then they were both like, "Yeah, that sounds great," like, and just literally carried on with their conversation. And I was like,
"That was so easy."
Like planning this in my head, like, come on. And then we had to think like strategists, and we found a way to kind of get our work out there to start with. We had our own little strategy on that. That's a little insight. If we ever write a book, I'm sure that truth will come out there. That we had a little clever strategy to get working together, and we did. We managed to get 6-7 strategy workshops together. We then brought a camera crew in to help us with our awareness. So we had a camera crew making documentaries, and I guess the rest is history. Like it's a collaboration in force now, and it happens every day. You know, it's wild.
That's great.
Organic.
I always love to hear how people met and how they started collaborating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Anyway, I think we've ran over massively, but I super appreciate you guys. Like,
this is fun.
Emily,
Thanks for having
this
us.
is really great.
Thank you
Thanks for having us.
No worries.
Yeah.
It was great.
Anything you want to push before we go? I know I've mentioned the book. I'll put the link in the chat.
The book,
We have a
where can
couple
people find
articles in print magazine that are some really kind of like some updated chapters of our book, I would say, almost in a way.
Amazing.
So definitely some really great resources there, especially navigating the current time, business development, positioning, which are like our big things.
And
so
anybody wants to reach
check those
out to you, would you say like going through LinkedIn is the best way, straight into your inboxes? Is that cool?
Send it right to my inbox. Email.
Inbox.
So
yeah. Pretty easy.
And there's you can contact us through our website. And just reconnect with us, get on our mailing list, because we send out, content to where we're speaking. I do a lot of speaking, so it's just if you're interested in working with us or just hearing about us, what we're doing.
I'm just going to plug you now, Emily, because I know it. In the pre-call, you were like, you want to get some international speaking roles. So
I really would love.
She does
that.
love.
Anybody here on the chat or anybody listening back at a later date, book this lady because she's a G.
Wait, I have one other thing. I have this obsession that I want to speak in Adobe Max. I've never spoken in Adobe Max.
Let's make it happen.
And I'm just putting it out in the universe. It's on my list, and I have to do it one day before I die. So
let's manifest. Let's manifest together. Adobe Max. Adobe Max. It's happening. Emily,
but I love to travel. So the
much.
more I can travel.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend.
Speak soon.
Yeah, have a vacation in Croatia, not Croatia. Where are you? In Greece,
Estonia.
Estonia, right? Estonia.
Yeah. I'm in Estonia. Yeah.
Cyprus.
Yeah.
They were Cyprus too. Yeah.
But I live in Cyprus. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
See you later.
Ciao. Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
That was good. That was good.
We didn't even need Ash.
No, actually, it was much better. Should we do it like this? Should we just like room? But
we need to rebrand. We need to rebrand.
Wes, what did you learn?
I learned that our relationship's not as bad as I thought. Being you, I thought that other people might do the same thing. No, I just think that brutally honest, without the pun. Just knowing that that's a superpower that they're willing to teach and that we actually have organically. I think being honest and transparent. And a bit like you with Georgia, like in my relationship, I always say to Lucy, like, if we don't communicate and we're not truthful, we're never going to last. You know what I mean? And I think if you take that theory into business with your clients, I think that's the key, you know. So
yeah, very similar. I learned that, you know, embracing hard conversation is the way, and I think the magic and the truth happens from there. So we should never try to avoid it. We should never procrastinate on those hard
no.
chats, you know.
But there's some real like people in the chat today. It's been a bit quiet, but like I love that like G-Man and Mr. Gary Lewis, who I would love to get on the show one day. Gary does copy. He's in the chat. Mario, he's a real cool kid from Level C as well. Yeah, and then Michael Bustin, he was in North Carolina. The chat has been quiet today, which I'm quite shocked at. And our regulars aren't in. Charlotte Lewis is in. She's from BBA, so there's a few in there. But yeah, we need to get this chat back alive, man. We need to get some Negronis on.
I think it's August, end of August, Friday. You know, it's a bit more quiet.
All
Bro,
right.
have a lovely weekend. Thanks everyone for joining.
See you in 2. Peace, y'all.